If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
What beautiful blossoms we have this year. But look, this one's late. But I'll bet that when it blooms, it will be the most beautiful of all.
Values are the fundamental ideas that we hold individually to help guide us through life. They build the foundation of all of our actions and all our reasoning. They are the building blocks of who we want to be and who we want to be perceived as. Values are ideas that we as humans are willing to lay down our lives for. They are one of the most important aspects of an individual's life, but ironically enough, most people don't have values to stand up for. They are too busy with their daily life, and so they never discover what they truly believe in. They allow themselves to be pushed around by others because they don't have anything to stand up for themselves. Up until a few years ago, I used to be not much different. But just like Mulan, I started to look inwards and realize that there was something inherently wrong with what I was being told to do. And so I started to do my own research, and with time I became more and more steadfast in my beliefs. With time, I challenged the status quo and went to war against the groupthink that I was being fed. And today I stand side by side with Mulan, knowing what my core values are and knowing that I will, if necessary, die on this hill, trying to defend what I believe in, even if it gets me killed. Because I would rather die on my feet than live on my knees. Emiliano Zapata.
Maybe I didn't go for my father. Maybe what I really wanted was to prove I could do things right.
Mulan is one of the most iconic Disney movies to date, and for good reason as well. It's an incredibly beautiful masterpiece of cinematography. The movie takes place in ancient imperial China and is based on the ancient Chinese legend of the same name. Fa Mulan is a young Chinese teenager and a single child of the honored Fa Zhu, an injured war veteran who hoped to live the rest of his life with his family in retirement. But all of this changes after one crucial night. The Huns, who are led by the vicious Shan Yu, have breached the Great Wall of China and are now on the way to kill the emperor and take over the rest of China. The emperor hears of the tragic news and demands an instant mobilization of at least one male soldier per Chinese family. The war has just begun and China needs men to fight for it. Fa Zhu, though, is badly injured and will never be able to survive this war if he's forced into battle. But since he knows his place in society and will die for his country if needed, he takes the demand to heart and prepares to go to battle. Mulan, on the other hand, though, is furious. She can clearly see that her father won't be able to make it and questions a system that would willingly throw one of its most precious subjects to the wolves.
You shouldn't have to go. There are plenty of young men to fight for China.
It is an honor to protect my country and my family.
So you'll die for honor.
I will die doing what's right.
But if you...
I know my place. It is time you learned yours.
Fa Mulan is a free thinker. She doesn't take crap from anyone, but this attitude can also be to her detriment. But she doesn't mind that. No matter what the consequences may be, she will bravely stand up for what she believes in and refuse to bow down to anyone who tries to force it upon her. Which is why she is so infuriated by the current situation. She understands why her father accepted the mandate, but she can't help herself caring for her father. She opposes every piece of Chinese legislation, breaks down long-held traditions, and goes against her own father's word because she will not be banned by those rules. She knows that rules and traditions are a beautiful thing to be had to help a society prosper, but only when those same rules and traditions are morally right. Otherwise, you're just playing devil's advocate without even realizing it. Mulan disguises herself as a man and goes to the army in her father's place. She is risking the death penalty, but she doesn't care because in her mind, there are things in life that are worse than death itself. She will not just stand by and watch as they take her father away from her to die. She's going to stand up and work like a man even though she isn't one. She's going to do everything in her power to stand up for what she believes in and stand up for her core values. It's this lesson that we can take away from this movie, a lesson that is perfectly represented by the character of Mulan. She had all the reasons to just stand by and accept the fate of her father's life. No one would have blamed her for it. She would have been just fine because most people in society never really question when things are morally wrong. As long as it is within the rules and it goes along with the flow of things, most people will swim along. They will do horrendous things in the name of the politically correct mindset. They will abandon their core values for someone else's worldview. But most of them don't do it out of hate or spite or because they're evil. Most people play along because they're simply ignorant and because they don't have principles to stand up for in the first place. And if you don't have any principles to fight for, well, then it is incredibly easy to just make you simply accept someone else's ideology. An ideology that probably goes against everything you believe in, but also an ideology that is easier to follow than to fight against. But sometimes you gotta be, even if you're alone, the one person who swims against the flow. The one person who blooms in adversity to fight for what's right.
The flower that blooms in adversity is the most rare and beautiful of all. Sir, you don't meet a girl like that every dynasty.
Sometimes in life, we will be faced with some hard moral choices. Many of us might stumble upon those moments and be undecided on how to choose. Often though, the answer is very simple and the choice very easy to make. Well, if you are aware of your core values, that is. If you never ask yourself what rights, morals and values are most important to you, then you are very likely to be swayed by other people's beliefs. Beliefs that might go against your own well-being and beliefs that might be opposed to everything you truly stand for. Mulan teaches us that oftentimes the world can be a nasty place, but no matter how bad it seems, don't be swayed into just swimming along with the mainstream belief. Take a few steps back and look inward. Find out what is truly important for you. Find out what you are willing to stand up for and fight for. Find your values. Maybe you are a staunch believer that freedom of speech is a right worth fighting for. Maybe you find out that above all else, oppression is the most important issue for you. Whatever it may be, you have to find out what values are most important to you. It will be the main thing that will help you find true meaning in life and keep you going. It will make certain that you never give up no matter what. And of course, it will also ensure that if you ever have to face off against an oppressive regime, you are able to do so and stand up for what you believe in. Ignorance is not an excuse for wrongdoing. So look inwards and find out what your core values are, and then stand and fight for them with all you've got. Shape your own being or be shaped by other beings. Thanks. Just before I end this video, I want to quickly address something. I do not in any shape or form agree with the production of the 2020 Mulan movie, and I also don't think that it should be seen by anyone whatsoever. Though the original movie is a masterpiece, Disney did its legacy an injustice by filming the movie in Xinjiang, and then giving the Chinese government entities special thanks for letting them film there. Many of you might not be aware, but Xinjiang is the same Chinese province in which over 1 million Uyghur Muslims are currently being held for their ideology in concentration camps. And no, this is not me exaggerating. I cannot say all of the horrific things that the Chinese government is doing to them on YouTube, but let's just say that harvesting organs is just one of the many atrocities that is going on in those concentration camps. It's a slap in the face by Disney to the legend of Mulan, to not only allow a government to oppress a people as much as China is doing, but by going as far as thanking them for it and then filming with their incomprehensible wealth miles away from where all of this is happening. It's a slap in the face for democracy and freedom, and I will not stand for it because I know what my principles are. Thanks for watching, guys. Feel free to subscribe and check out one of my previous videos right here. This channel is all about looking at video games and pop culture from a different perspective, about digging deeper into the meaning of life and how we can get there with video games, movies and TV shows. So if that interests you, maybe subscribe, maybe hit the bell to be notified. What about that, huh? Yeah? Okay, good. See ya.